Hi everyone, Zoe here from makeitcrafty. I've been having a lot of requests to show you how I do my folds and my pleats and whatnot, so I thought that I would I'm going to start with his face so that we can just colour the whole thing, and I'll do the face and then I'll do his vest and then his pants and go from there. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm starting with E-triple-O. I always start on their cheeks. It's just my little area, and then I work my way into the center. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually using my new paper, which is Make It Color, and you'll be able to sort of see the effects of how it works. And I like to lay down the lightest color first, and then I come in with my cheek color. So I've got R20 here, and I'm just going to give him some rosy cheeks. And the reason I do this is so that I can come in with the other skin colors and blend this color out. I find it's, just for my personal taste, it's a little bit too pink. So I'm now going to come in with E01 and give him some natural color back over those cheeks. I'm going to turn as I colour, makes it much easier. So what I also like to do is I like to start adding some depth at this point to the face, and so I'm bringing my E01 along the bottom here, and I'm going to come back with my E-triple-O just to blend that into the center a bit. I'm still not going right to the center, I'm just going along the edges and fluffing that up. And I'm going to come back with my E01 and flick out over the top of that just to make sure that that's blended. Okay, now I'm going to start working on his forehead. So I'm going to bring in, I'm using my E-triple-O, and I'm just laying down some colour, exactly the same as what we've done for the cheeks and his bottom of his face. So very light flicks. Coming in with my E01, and I've got this new thing that I like to do is I leave the whole sort of top area light. So I'm just going to start bringing in some shading from the edges here to create our depth, and just a little bit here. So I'm pressing really lightly, I'm just really letting the ink do the work. You'll notice that it's just blending in as I colour, so I don't really have to do too much. Now I'm going to come in with my E11 and start adding some more shading. And so I'm just going to add some around the edges here. And a little bit under his tuft of hair there. What I also like to do is add some more depth around the cheeks. And I take a line from the center. I start at the center because it's where it's going to be thickest, and I take it out and I leave it just like this, so it sort of thins out at the edges. I'll come back in with E01 at this point and just blend that into the rest. So I'm really just sort of wetting the paper there just to blend out that line. And we'll bring that up. And we just going to blend these other areas around here. And again on this side. And it's good to turn your paper just so that you're in your most comfortable position of what works for you when you're colouring. Otherwise, it just becomes all too awkward. Okay, I'm just going to come back in now with my EOO and just wet that area a little bit. And the way that you get your nice smooth finished is whilst that's wet, come in with your EO1 and you flick into it. And then bring this up. Just like that. So I might just come in with a little bit of E13 just to give him some little bit more definition here. And this I won't actually blend. I'm just looking for a little bit of a shadow. But I always finish it that it's on, that it's not thick, that it's on a, it's not one thick line. It sort of goes into the black line. I draw into the black line. And then I'm going to do the same just at the bottom here. So you'll be able to see, if I make sure that I move paper, I start at the center and I draw into the actual line so that it's not, so it sort of finishes thinly. Just like that. You can see that just that alone adds that little bit extra depth, but I do need to blend that bit. So I'm going to bring in my EO1 and just bring that up a little bit. You can see that we've just put layer upon layer upon layer on this paper and it's still blending nicely. It's not sitting on the surface. I'm really quite excited that I found this paper. And for those that are interested, I've been getting a lot of questions about whether the ink should go right through. And you'll see that where I've done lots of blending on the bottom of, the paper has, the ink has gone through the paper. But as you go to the center area, because obviously I didn't put too much ink on there, it hasn't come completely through. Okay. So, what's next? Let's do his hands. I had this when I was colouring him the other day. I had this thought that his hands were sort of more, if I can show you, more like this rather than out flat. And so I thought that I would add a little bit of dimension. And the way that I did that was I coloured it with EOO, and then I thought that his thumb would sort of go like this, and I actually took my hand and put it in that position to see how it would work. So yeah, and then I just brought some colour down like this. So I'm just going to bring in E11, and I only use this sparingly just to give it that little bit extra, but I also need to bring a little bit in over here. And like so. Come in with EO1 again. And when you're in these small areas, you don't need to really do much. You just sort of dab the paper and let the ink blend in with the rest. And then we'll get the EOO and just go over that. And if I'm not too happy, I just keep working it until it looks sort of like how I think it should look. And I'll just add a little bit more E11. And I'm using E01 again. Just to, okay, so that's not too bad. We'll go with the other hand, and this one I thought that it was probably a little bit more, not quite like the other one. Doesn't seem to be quite positioned the same. So I'm going to put in like so. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. It's very light because I'm just sort of guessing at the moment, and once I'm happy I then begin to do it a little bit darker. And I'm going with E11 just to define some of those areas a bit more. And back with E01 just to blend it out a little bit. And back with E00 just to smooth it all. And I'm going to come back with my E01 again just to flick into those areas. Okay, so the last one is his neck, and I'm going to start straight with E01 because I'm not going to be using E00. And E01 and E11. And back with E01. Okay, so that's his skin done. I'll stop recording and I'll come up with the next video and we're going to work on his vest. Thanks for watching, and I will be back.